This morning, it is my joy and privilege to introduce our eighth grade chapel speaker, Dan Geary. Dan is smart, he's funny, he has a kind of a wicked sense of humor, and he is the whole package. He's a great athlete, he plays hockey, and one of the things, and he was also in the Math Bowl last year, right, Dan? All right. One of the things that I particularly appreciate about Dan is his willingness to help out to clean up after lunch, sweeping the floors. Now, every time I ask, and this happened last year, it's happening this year, there is really no incentive to doing it except for the just joy of doing it. So every time I ask for volunteers to clean the floor or sweep the floor after lunch, he is always one of the first ones to put his hand up, to the point where I have to say, Dan, can you wait, give someone else a chance? So I'm really happy that you volunteer, and that's something I really appreciate, and that's a great attribute to have. So please put your hands together and welcome Dan to the stage.
All right. Good morning, students, parents, and faculty. As Mr. Raj just stated, my name is Dan Geary, and today I'll be talking about optimism. And to start, optimism sounds like a pretty happy concept because the main idea of it is hopefulness and happiness. But there's some times where optimism is a bit far-fetched and the thoughts of going right are a bit off track. Such as like a final you haven't studied for. I mean, of course you shouldn't expect the world to come crashing down, but like, you're not gonna get a 100 on it, and it's not gonna be all sunshine and rainbows. It's just setting yourself up for disappointment. But it also really comes down to the main difference between optimism and pessimism. Is the glass half full, or is it half empty? And everybody has a different view of things, but I like to say that it's half full. And it goes a lot farther than just that. It's knowing that just because you're having a rough time, it won't be like that forever, and a bad test grade isn't really a failure, it's an opportunity to see what went wrong and how to improve upon your mistakes. And there have been so many times that I've had to have been optimistic over my past years at this school. For example, last year I took a test that I thought I was ready for, and I clearly wasn't. I got far from what I wanted when it comes to grades, and I was disappointed and frustrated. But I kept my head up, and I realized what I had to do for the upcoming school year. And another example is the well-known story among my grade about how I had to go to the hospital on the 6th grade class trip. So I was going to DC with a blood disease called ITP, and it's roughly affects about 5 in every 100,000 people. And it's my second time having it, so I guess I'm a pretty special kid. It's basically where the disease and bacteria-fighting blood cells, which are the white blood cells, attack your platelets, which are the cells in your blood that help it clot and stop bleeding. So on the first day of the trip, around dinner, my nose started to bleed. I didn't really care, and I wasn't surprised, so I treated it normally, and everything was pretty much fine. So we all go back to the hotel, and everything was normal, so we all went to sleep. And when I woke up, I realized that my nose was still bleeding. And I'm sure that was a bit weird for Austin and Xander. So it just wouldn't stop, and at the end of our visit to Arlington National Cemetery, the trip chaperones thought it would be in my best interest to head over to the hospital. And I didn't really care because I thought I'd be back before the end of the day, but I wasn't, and I was at the ER for like 4 hours. And thank you to Mrs. Molzette for sticking with me. Give me that puzzle thing. And it was pretty boring, but they took my blood, and so to start, you should have between 150,000 and 400,000 platelets. See, the thing is, I had less than 1,000. So I was pretty cool. And thing is, the doctor came back, and they broke me the tough news that I had to stay overnight, and it was pretty frustrating, but I realized that it was for my own good, and I stayed overnight, and I got a dose of medicine that reset my immune system and shot my platelet count back up. And at about 3 o'clock the next day, I was discharged from the hospital, and I met my group for dinner. And even though I didn't have the best time, I kept a positive mindset and stayed optimistic, and it really helped me. And it was also important for me to be optimistic about my chapel. And I've known that I've had to do a chapel for almost the entire time that I've been here, and I've had no concerns about it up until this summer. I felt okay about it because I didn't think I'd have the second 8th grade chapel of the year, But it turns out that I did. And when I heard about it, I was nervous because I didn't think I had enough time to do it well. But it turns out I had ample time to do it, and I mean, I'm up here now. Because I stayed optimistic, I found a good topic, and I pounded it out. And the thing is, if every optimist in this world changed to a pessimist, nothing would progress. And I would guess that the majority of the people in this room have cell phones, and, well, for some of us, our advisors took it away this morning. But the thing is, a lot of inventing new things is trial and error, and if nobody were optimistic, we wouldn't have these cell phones, because nobody would keep going after that first try where they failed. And so this year, the 8th grade does the Design and Difference project, and that really revolves around the idea of designing something that could make a small impact on people, or even a big on a lot of people. The thing is, anybody can make something great, but to do so, you have to be passionate about what you want to do, and you have to be optimistic and say to yourself that no matter how long it takes, you have to keep your head up and keep moving forward. Every day, we're faced with new challenges and obstacles, and we have to be willing and excited to conquer them. And all of us students wake up and go to school every day from Monday to Friday for different reasons. Of course, it's illegal to drop out of school before the age of 16. That's not it, though. Some of us show up to see our best friends every day, and others may really enjoy our classes. But every day when we wake up, we all have to make the choice on whether we're going to have an optimistic or pessimistic outlook on today. Are you going to be welcoming to whatever comes your way, or are you going to accept everything that goes wrong as a defeat? I mean, there's no way to avoid bad things that are out of your control, but the best thing that you can do is keep moving. And being optimistic can also help boost the morale of those around you along with yourself. And a lot of optimists are generally happier people and are really nice. And being an optimist can help you and the people around you look on the bright side of life and stay happy. I hope you all have a great day and stay optimistic.